Shalom. G-Man Solid Sit Down is coming with a quick hit through the spirit and power of Yahweh, Ba'asham, Yahweh Shai. I want to give all praise and glory to Yahweh, Ba'asham, Yahweh Shai. Double honors to the other parts of G-Man for teaching us this truth. Peace and salutations to the elect, spreading this word and this gospel all over the four corners of the earth. What we're supposed to do. This video is going to be named Quick Hit Concerning Meats. And why do I say concerning meats? Because the word meat or meats is a big thing in this truth. A big thing involving the law. Because the law is not done away with. And you got certain unlearned people that say and teach and think they can eat all things. You know? So I want to go into this these few scriptures. Mark chapter 7 verse 16. It says, if any man have an ear, if any man have ears to hear, let him hear. You know, everyone has ears, but those that have an ear to hear, those that have the ability to understand, let them bow down their ear to listen. You know, verse 17. And when he was entered into the house from the people, his disciples asked him concerning the parable. And he said unto them, are ye so without understanding also? Do ye not perceive whatsoever thing from without entered into the man, it cannot defile him? Because it entered not into his heart, but into the belly, and goeth out into the throat, purging all meats. So this is basically a big stumbling block for a lot of people, mostly Christians, who think they can eat all meats, you know, but because this is the event where the Pharisees came unto Yahushua and they basically pointed at him concerning that the disciples was eating without washing their hands. But how the Christians read it, they grab the scripture and say like, yeah, it says all meats, you know. But you know, that's why I make the scripture a thing concerning meats, so that thing is gonna be made clear. Y'all wrote this out through the spirit. So let's go back to the tip top, which is Mark chapter 7 verse 1. Then came together unto him the Pharisees and certain of the scribes which came from Jerusalem. And when they saw some of his disciples eat bread with defiled, that is to say, with unwashed hands, they found fault. So this whole thing is concerning eating with unwashed hands. It's not concerning eating pork. It's not concerning eating rabbit, all kinds of unclean nonsense. It's concerning eating with unwashed hands, which was a tradition that they learned from their fathers. Verse 3, for the Pharisees and all the Jews except they wash their hands oft, eat not, holding the tradition of the elders. And when they come from the market, except they wash, they eat not. And many other things there be which they have received to hold, as the washing of cups and pots, brassen vessels, and of tables. So this is a tradition, what they speak about. So Yahushua cut them through the spirit, you know. He cut them through the spirit with the things that are written right here. And the disciples asked what his parable meant. And his parable is this. Verse 6. And he answered and said unto them, well had Isaiah prophesied of you hypocrites, as it is written, this people honoureth me with their lips, but their heart is far from me. Howbeit in vain do ye worship me, teaching for doctrines the commandments of man. This is basically This is like this is the 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 thing which the disciples also didn't understand. Verse 18, and he said unto them, are ye so without understanding also? Do ye not perceive that whatsoever thing from without entereth into the man, it cannot defile him? So how these Christians and dudes that love to eat pork interpret this is that everything that you eat is clean. Everything that you eat is clean. But that's not true. You know, the Most High set up a law, and the law of the Most High is not to be turned into in vain, basically. You know. So it says, for what thing that whatsoever thing from without entered into the man, it cannot defile him, because it entered not into his heart, but into the belly, and goeth out into the draught, purging all meats. So it says purging all meats. So basically it says here that because it doesn't go into your mind, because you basically are not defiling your heart, you're not defiling your ways, but only things that go into your belly, that you can now eat all things. That's nonsense, you know. And the big stumbling block over here is due to translation into the English, because it says here, it says all purging all meats. Now if you look up this word purging, it says to make clean, cleanse from physical stains, dirt, food, you know, purging, to consecrate by cleansing or purifying. That's basically destroying the food in your stomach, and cleansing your stomach, cleaning up your stomach from all meats. If you look up the word meats, which is the point of this whole video, it says broma in the Greek.
Strong's G 1033. Broma.
So the word meats over there is food. That which is eaten, food. That, and this is basically the point, man. That which is eaten. That which is eaten. If we go to Deuteronomy chapter 14, there are things written which ye shall eat and which ye shall not eat. You know, Deuteronomy chapter 14 verse 2. For thou art a holy people unto the Lord Yahweh thy power, and Yahweh had chosen thee to be a peculiar people unto himself above all nations that are upon the earth. Thou shalt not eat any abominable thing. These are the beasts which ye shall eat: the oxen, the ox, the sheep, the goat, the hart, the roebuck, the fallow deer, the wild goat, and the pygarg, and the wild ox, and the chamois, and every beast that parted the hoof, and the cleaveth the cleft into two claws, and cheweth the cud among the beasts that ye shall eat. So the things which ye are supposed to eat are written down. And that's why it says meats, because these meats are things that you eat. And unclean beast is not a thing that you eat, man. Pursuing to the law of Yahweh Ba'asham Yahushai, the law that the Most High gave unto Moses. So it says broma, meats, that which is eaten. And like we just saw in the law, Deuteronomy chapter 14, unclean beasts are not to be eaten. So this word meats, all meats, is talking about all food which is eaten. Because remember that this whole conversation started about washing hands, eating bread with clean hands, washed hands. It didn't start. This conversation didn't start about eating pork or eating a swine or duck or shrimp. It didn't start because of that. It started because of unclean hands. So you don't defile your stomach, you don't defile your body by eating with dirty hands. That's what it's all about, man. It's not about pork. So it says, because it entered not into his heart, but into the belly, and goeth out into the drought, purging all food which is to be eaten. But it says meats. But the word meats there is broma, which means that which is eaten. Food. And unclean beasts was not considered as food, man. Unclean beasts as pork and swine are created to cleanse basically the dirt from the earth, man. If you have an aquarium and you put a couple of shrimps in it, you are basically able to cleanse your aquarium without putting a motor water cleanser in it or whatever, water filter, you know. So that's an animal that's created by Yahweh Hashem Yahushua to cleanse, not to eat, you know. And a good and great example is Genesis chapter 1 and 29, which says, and the Most High said, behold, I have given you every herb bearing seed, which is upon the face of all the earth, and every tree in the which is the fruit of a tree yielding seed. So the herbs, the plants, the plants that can heal you, the plants that are good for your stomach, you know, the plants that are basically greens for the health, you know, those has the Most High created. And it says, to you it shall be for meat. This is a great scripture to show people that smoke that it should be eaten, you know, and not this chemical weed that they give you in these coffee shops. No, not that. You know, you have actual hennep seed, you have hennep plants which don't contain all kinds of chemicals that they put on it that give you this so-called sensational feeling, man. But actually, hennep seed is actually protein, man. So if you eat it, if you consume it, it can basically repair your muscles that are broken down due to training or exercise or whatever, you know. So it says, to you it shall be for meat. So does that mean that plants are meat? No, because if you go into the word meat in the Old Testament, it says akala, which means food, eating, object of devouring, consuming, you know. So it just means food, man, because plants are food, meat is food, but bread that you eat with unclean hands, with basically dirty hands, is also food. So that's what it's talking about, man. But due to translation, many stumbling blocks are placed for people that are not pointed out to understand this truth, you know. Many are called, but few are chosen, because it is given unto you to know the mysteries of the kingdom of heaven. That's the point. This thing is not for everyone, but of course we gotta edify it to the brothers to whom it is given to understand. That's why we make videos. That's why we bring out this truth. So going to the last scripture, which is 2 Peter chapter 3 verse 16. As also in his epistles, speaking in them of these things, in which are some things hard to be understood. And that's true, man. Hey, if you read the book of Acts, if you read the book of Romans, if you read the book of Hebrews, there are many things which are hard to be understood, man. Which they that are unlearned and unstable rest. Which the word rest, if you look it up, because many people don't look up things, it says rest, to twist, turn, torture, basically to wrestle with. So people that are unlearned and unstable, they wrestle with those things. Certain things that are difficult to be understood, they wrestle with those things. as they do also the other scriptures unto their own destruction, because it's not given unto them. So there are many things that are hard to be understood, and people that are unlearned wrestle with it. And if you are unlearned, you are a person that doesn't even want to go deep. You are a person that doesn't want to study, that doesn't want to go into the root of the words. That's why we got our elder apostles who have taught us well, knowing that we have to go into the etymology of words and look up words. And that's why today basically I gave you the Greek word broma and the Hebrew word alka, which is food, even though it says meat in the translation. So yeah, with that, hey, I hope this lesson was edifying, and no yara tazah. See you in the next lesson. Shalom.